Okay, I want to take some time and talk about the Chapter 8 assignment here. This is designed for those of you who have finished this already. Most of you will have not used arrays. I think we have a great book, but the textbook doesn't necessarily go into arrays at a level of someone just being introduced to them. So I've taken the liberty of going ahead and putting everything we need on the form. As you can see, I've got a menu strip up here, and that's just to see our price schedule that's required for each of our different tickets. Um, I've got a list box here, which I just have named list box at this time. I think I'm going to go ahead and change that name to section list box. I've got a place to keep track of our number of orchestra, mezzanine, general, and balcony tickets ordered. Uh, this text box, I probably should have a label with this, but this text box is just for a quantity. So in the event a group, let's say a church group or something, wants to buy 25 tickets in the general section, I don't have to come in and hit buy 25 times. So I can just put in a integer here, hit the buy, and hopefully calculate out this sale for those general tickets, and then my total sales for all tickets. These zeros again are just to keep track of of each of the number of tickets we've ordered. So that's just kind of the guts of what we need. We can jazz it up, make it look a little nicer, but this is really about the code that goes behind the scenes. So let's take a look at this list box. This is going to be a really important part of this program. I'm going to need to know at all times which section I've chosen. That's going to make a difference on what I charge. For instance, I've also taken my price schedule here. Um, this is already pre-made. I've got another form for this, but I'm going to need to know which of these four sections was chosen so I know how much to charge, and also so I know which one of these to add to. So that's going to be very, very important for us. I'm going to go into list box, and I'm going to go in there and I'm going to just type in, just so you can see this. Let's go ahead and go section list box dot, I don't want that, section list box 1 dot selected index, and I'm going to just get a message box just to show you what's going on with that. So when I run this, and I got to start this over. No, I think I'm good. So when I run this and I click on orchestra, I get a 0, mezzanine a 1, general a 2, and balcony a 3. And that's not just counting up. Every time I go back to mezzanine, it's a 1. Every time I go back to orchestra, it's a 0. General is always a 2, orchestra is a 0, balcony is a 3. So it's capturing the number of my list index. Index replies to number. It's just my number in the list, number 0, 1, 2, 3 for balcony. So I often say this guy right here is our MVP of the program. Now, I don't want a message box about it. I want to capture that value. And I'm going to go ahead and capture that value with a variable, and I'm going to need to have that variable available to me at all times. So I'm going to just call that guy my section integer. So section integer, and I need this to be a section integer equals, we'll try. I need this variable dimension, but I need this to be dimensioned so that it maintains its value through the whole duration of the program. I don't want to dimension it in here so it grabs its value and loses it. So I'm going to put this up here. Let's go dim section integer as integer. So anytime I click on that section list box, I'm going to grab the number that corresponds to orchestra, mezzanine, general, balcony, and it's going to be saved in here. And this, as I said, is really our MVP of the program. That's going to be important to have that number. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look back at other things we might want to do. Because we're going to be using arrays on this, I'm going to have this set up an array right here, and these are going to keep track of, again, our number of orchestra tickets, etc. So since these guys are labels, this is a sneaky little thing I'm going to do here, and you did not see this in the book. I'm going to actually dimension these labels into an array. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. I'm going to go ahead and dimension ticket label, and we've never done this before. You'll see why we're doing this shortly. 4 of those as a label. And all this is going to do is going to say that I'm going to be able to refer to ticket label 0, ticket label 1, ticket label 2, and ticket label 3. And when I do that, I want that to correspond to, or just to be kind of a nickname for this, which is the ORCH, ORC label, Mez label, Gen label, and balcony label. So I'm going to establish in my form load, I'm going to just make those links. So ticket label 0 equals ORC label. Ticket label 1 equals Mez label. Ticket label 2 equals our general label. And ticket label 3 equals our balcony label. Okay, not the greatest of naming, but again, I think you'll get the picture on what's going on with this. So so all I'm doing now, I could always say ORC label 1 dot text equals 3, but that would be equivalent to saying now ticket label 0 dot text equals 3. So I can just refer to ORC label with ticket label 0. Okay, you'll see why that's so beneficial shortly. Okay, I'm also going to set up my price structure here. So I got 4 prices, so I'm going to dim price decimal, 4 of those as decimal. And I'm going to establish that right in here as well. I could actually put those up here as constant decimals and put that in the dimension because they're not going to change, but I'm going to put it right here. So price decimal 0, the price for the orchestras are $40. Price decimal 1, mezzanine tickets are $27.50. See, price decimal 2, general tickets are $15, and price decimal 3, our balcony tickets are $10. Okay, so we've got that. I'm now pretty much ready to go into where I buy. When I buy the ticket, I'm going to go ahead and do quite a bit of the guts of the program are going to be within there. So let's go take a look. Right now, this just is called button 1, so I'm going to rename it. Where are we here? Name is button 1, so I'm just going to rename that the buy button. Okay, so when I buy, what am I going to need to do? I always try to look at this from a form perspective. When I buy, I'm going to need to grab the number out of here first. So let's go take care of that. And the number I grab out of here, I'm only going to need instantaneously. I'm going to add it into these, and then I'm going to use it with my price to multiply by, if it's orchestra, $40 times, let's say 5 tickets, or 5 tickets times the $27.50 if I choose mezzanine goes there. And I'm going to have a grand total sales. So there's some things I need along the way here. So in order to calculate sale, though, I'm going to have to grab the number out of here. Let's take care of that. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into here. I'm going to need a temporary variable. I'm going to dimension it down here. I'm going to call it quantity integer. And I'm gonna actually do a calculation, but I think I'll come back and dimension that because that kind of makes sense to do it that way. So what am I going to do? I just need quantity integer equals my text box that has the amount of tickets in it is amount text box dot text. I see a lot of people using, I have in past seen a lot of people using text boxes in calculations. I'm going to have to take this amount and multiply it by a price. That is not a good form, a good way of handling computation. I never use a text box in addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. You can get away with it sometimes, but it also leads to some problems, and it is definitely considered a bad form to do that in the programming world. So the next thing I'm going to do is I want to calculate this sale. And so to do that, I'm going to create another variable to put my amount in, but I'm going to have to use some number in here. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to go ahead and dimension. I'll just call it price decimal as decimal. And then I'm going to figure out what my price decimal is. My price decimal certainly equals my quantity, and then that's times whatever price I'm dealing with. But the price I'm dealing with is going to be chosen from one of these. I just don't know which one it's going to be. So I'm going to put in price decimal, and it's either going to be 0, 1, 2, or 3, but that's going to be based on our MVP. This guy equals price decimal. Oh, I didn't want price decimal. Price decimal equals. My mistake. This is, ooh, I've got two price decimals. That's really bad form. I'm going to call this just price. I can't dimension things two different ways. And I did that. Lots of people have done that. I've seen that in the past where people will call something the same name here as they've called it up above. And that's not a good idea at all. So price decimal. So my price is going to be my quantity out of my text box times one of these depending on which section I have chosen. Does that make sense? Hope so. Okay, and then once I've got that price decimal, I can go ahead and put that in the label. And that is my price label dot text equals, I always use format currency. You can do the set to cash format decimal. I want money here, or not decimal, format currency. Price. Okay, so that takes care of getting my price into here. Okay. Probably worth giving that a run right now and take a look at just that bit of it. So if I run this guy, let's choose balcony, or we'll choose general. I'm going to choose general. I'm going to buy 4 of those. That should be 4 times 15 or $60, and I buy that $60. Orchestra, if I choose orchestra and buy 1 of those, of course it's $40. And I think you get the picture there. We're in good shape on that part. What I need to do also now is keep total sales. And if I need to have a running total, which means that I need to go ahead and have a variable up here. So I'm going to dimension. I think I'll call it grand total as a decimal. So as soon as I get a new price right here, I can just add that onto my grand total. Plus equals, which means grand total equals grand total plus, in this case, price. And as soon as I do that, I might as well put it on the form. And the form that label that's going to contain that is, I called it GT label. Again, a little bit lazy there. GT label dot text equals grand total. And again, I just like to, anytime I get something on there that I think may be performing, I like just checking it so I don't have multiple problems at the same time. So let's go ahead and take a look. I'm going to buy some general tickets. I'm going to buy 2 of those. I buy them. I've got 30. Looks like maybe I'd want to put that into one of those format currencies as well. Mezzanine, buy 1 of those. That's $27.50, so I should be up to $57.50. Buy an orchestra ticket. one of those, that's $40 more. And it looks like everything's working here. Balcony, buy two of those, 2 times 10, $20 more onto there. Everything's working, but I believe I probably would like to tell this also to be format currency. And I expect that'll work and give me my dollars and cents in there. So what else do I need to do from a form perspective? I need to add on to these guys. And those guys are called Mez label, Orc label, Gen label, Balc label. But as you recall, I can now refer to those as ticket label. So I need to be able to keep track of grand totals for each of these. So I'm going to keep all 4 of those in an array. So I'm going to go back up to the top here, and I'm going to go ahead and dimension my totals. Let's call it dimension ticket totals. And I need 4 of those, as those would be integers. Okay. So as soon as I get a quantity, actually, I can add that on to my ticket totals, but I'm going to put it right down here. My ticket totals, we'll get that going. Ticket totals. And now, right now, it should be either ticket totals 0, 1, 2, or 3, depending on which section I'm in. But the section I'm in, again, is my MVP selected section. Ticket total selected section, I'm totaling those up, plus equals our new quantity. And I've got them, but I need to put them in the right storage space, and the storage spaces are our ticket labels. So ticket label, section integer, dot text, that's my nickname for Orc, Mez, Gen, Balc, equals ticket totals, section integer. See how important that guy is? Well, that's certainly worth taking a look and seeing if that's working for us. And so here we go. Let's buy some orchestras. I'll buy 2 of those. That should be $80. And my total now is $80. I'll buy a mezzanine ticket. That's another $27.50. $27.50 for this sale. $27.50 onto the 80. General, let's buy 3 of those. That's $30 more. Or no, that's $45 more. Add it on. Seems to be keeping my total. Balcony, I'll buy 10 of those, so it'll be $100 more onto the total. Oh, I was still in general. My fault. Balcony, let's try 10 of those. So I'll be 100 up here in this sale and 100 more on to total sales. And we got it. Other things I might think of for the user. So it looks like everything's working here. I've got my price schedule. I need to get that linked up. But other things we might want to think about, as soon as the user comes up to orchestra and hits 3 buy, the next thing they're probably going to do is click here, select this, delete this, and then enter a different number, maybe a different section, but not necessarily a different section. But they're definitely going to want to delete that after they buy. They're always going to come back up here and do that. So let's see if we can't take care of that for them. I'm going to go ahead, and that label right there is my amount text box. So I'm going to go amount text box dot clear and amount text box dot, let's take a look, we've got focus here. And let's see if that helps the user out a little bit. Good. Whew, I was frozen for a second. So we'll run this guy. Let's order some general tickets. And I buy it, and boom. I'm going to buy it, and you're going to see I'm not going to jump up there and click. I'll buy some balconies, $10 more each. As soon as I buy, it's ready for me to enter a number. Well, that's pretty nice for the user. Doesn't have to just keep doing that over and over. Imagine this was your job, and you just took phone calls or just took orders all day by text or something like that, where you'd just be having to keep, every time you buy, you got to come up here, reselect. It would just be much, much more efficient for the user. You could get pretty grooved in on that. Okay, so the last thing I need to do is just show my price schedule. And if we go back to the form, in my price schedule, I get price schedule here, and all I need to do is go to my other, is just say to show my other price, my other form. So price schedule, that was the name of my other form, dot show. I think it's not going to like that unless it adds the parentheses. There we go. And we run this guy. And we got our price schedule to show. Just having to drag that around. We can actually set up where that would show, but then that can be durable and stay on while we're ordering things, just so we can, until we get comfortable with the prices. I ordered 12 of these general. 12 times 15. Okay, we could double check, make sure that it's working right. Mezzanine, maybe the best way to do that is just buy one of each. We can check our price schedule. So really nice option for you. You notice at no point did I use an if statement in here, and I suspect many of you that built this had something along the likelihood of, let's say, if section integer equals 0, then we're going to use $40. If section integer equals 1, then we're going to use $27.50. And if section 0 equals 40, then we're going to add our quantity integer onto our orchestra quantity or something, or orchestra total or something like that. And you probably in the buy button here have about 4 times as much code almost as what I have here. And now let's imagine for a minute you're selling tickets to the Super Bowl with this program, and you've got a price structure that has 90 different price tickets. And so what you would have to do in here is you'd have to have basically 90 times this. And what if you made a little change in like how you were formatting the output or something like that? You'd have to do that 90 times to maintain it. Or let's say you ordered a hardware store where you had 1,200 different screws or something like that. Now you got 1,200 of these. Now I would have to obviously increase this, but this would not have to change at all. All I'd have to do is, obviously add a bunch of things here, dimension these things to be more than 4, because that's all we needed. But I hope that gives you a really good appreciation for arrays moving forward. And hope that's helpful. By all means, ask questions. If you have any questions regarding that, I, of course, should have put some comments in here, but best wishes, and let's make certain that we're comfortable with arrays.